Hello, welcome to the second session of the Soul Power Experience. Activate your soul power, live your infinite greatness, be your own hero. The second session of the Soul Power Experience, we will be addressing emotions. You will be learning something really interesting about emotions. In the pre-session Thoughts to Ponder journal sheet for the Soul Power Experience, you are asked to identify 3 emotions that don't serve you very well, that are limiting or negative, and then 3 emotions that serve you well, that are positive and empowering. Years ago, I was getting ready for work and I had the following thought just pop into my mind: I hate my life. And I thought, how could I say that? I had a good job, a wonderful husband and children, a nice house, everything really was going for me. Well, it so happened that I was attending a spiritual formation and direction school. And in the reading for that school, I learned that we can be one person on the outside, but quite another person on the inside. And the goal is to integrate we are on the outside with who we are on the inside. So that is something that I help my clients do. In the last several years, I've listened to and studied over 100 books because I'm continually interested in what brings health and well-being to my own life, and so that I can journey with others, especially you. On the internet, I saw a diagram called Spiral Dynamics by Ken Wilber, in which the highest level of social structure and individual attainment is unconditional love. And after working for a church for 14 years and talking about the unconditional love of God, I thought this is just so perfect that this spiral dynamics structure is also out in the world, achieving the same thing. And I will have a copy of that in your resource binder. Then I read a book by David Hawkins called Power versus Force. And in that book, he had the map of consciousness. And what he did using muscle testing, he identified the energetic frequencies of emotions. And there are emotions that are life draining, and there's emotions that are life giving. None of our emotions are wrong. They are what they are. They are signals of really how we're doing in life. So quickly, I'm going to screen share and just share the map of consciousness with you. This will be in your materials. There it is. Great. So you can see that anything that shame and guilt are just the lowest emotions. We can just feel shame and guilt, can't we? Even just to name them, we can feel how low they feel in our body. Apathy, grief is a very draining experience. Fear and anxiety can be life draining. Even desire and craving, where we become disappointed, is life draining. And then anger, when it turns to hate, is obviously life draining. And pride, when it turns to scorn or we're demanding, is life draining. And so then we move into emotions that are 200 and above. And then we find courage, neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. And I really try to live my life with those life-giving emotions as my primary emotions. And then whenever I feel anything that's life-draining, I really begin to address why. And it's so interesting because our emotions are just what they are in our body. We really don't have to judge them. They're simply just how we're doing in any given day. When I was studying for the emotion code, which is one of the processes I use for this session specifically, I learned that we emit emotions from our body measurably at a 12-foot radius around us. So how we're feeling about ourselves and our day and others literally goes before us before we enter a room. And wouldn't it just be great if we were people that we would just emit courage and strength and love and peace and joy everywhere we went, that others would be refreshed just by being, in our presence and us being in theirs. And so I really hope that we can achieve this level of consciousness that really helps us to live at a higher path. In our first session of Light, Love, Power, and Wisdom, we've already talked about the emotional level of love, which makes the room for more joy in our life, and that literally is a higher frequency emotion. And then we can live a life of peace, and it's so important to be at peace within ourselves and bring peace into the world. And then the highest level being enlightenment, that's just like the feeling of the sages, where you're at an emotional experience that just is unspeakable. And we'll be discovering each of these emotions and experiences through the soul power experience. So I wanted to just share with you 3 emotions that I discovered that were not serving me. They were life draining. I used to be afraid of God, but now I know God as positive. I used to be kind of nervous and afraid around people, but now I know that people inform and enlighten me. And I used to be afraid of the future, but now I realize I can create my future. So I am not afraid of any of those things anymore. I used to have a feeling of overwhelm. I felt responsible for everyone and everything, but now I realize I'm responsible for myself and God's responsible for everything else. I can do what I can do, but then I just let it go. Another feeling I used to have a lot is procrastination. But then I learned that procrastination can be a stress response. And so we just have to figure out what's stressing us out about a particular issue. But also, procrastination can be a point of creativity. Maybe we're not really ready to work on that project until the creative process, is employed or at a finishing point when we work on something. So I realize now that I co-create my life with God. And as a co-creator and living a life with self-sovereignty, I realize that I have so much personal power. I no longer look outside of myself for what I need, because the emotion of love, wisdom, power is so instilled in my body. I can just meditate and be at a higher level of consciousness and really discern things for myself. I realize that I co-create my life with other people. The people in our lives are a part of our story, and we can work with them. They can work with us or even against us, and it's still part of our story. So I had a very powerful experience with love. I was asked in my hypnosis training to meditate and find my spirit guide. And at that point, I didn't even know if I believed in spirit guides, but my spirit guide's name is simply Love. And she came to me years ago in a song when I was a child. Also, the word love became an invisible tattoo across my body, LOVE. And when this word love was written on my body, it certainly has empowered me to be a person of love. I have experienced my higher self, which is really is recognizing that that higher self is within me, and that I desire not only good for myself, but others around me and in the whole world. So you can become aware of your own higher self in meditation. We can discover that in hypnosis. Another part of the session for emotions is that you'll have a post-session journal sheet and you can write down empowering emotions that can continue to guide you. Great. The guided meditation audio for this session has to do with Galatians 5:20 verses 22 and 23, which is the fruit of the Spirit. The reason I use that content from the Bible is because those words are just really, really, high frequency words and really important for our own development and that development of all of us as a human family. Maybe later I'll study Buddha and Muhammad and find some additional verses, but I hope that you can create your own story using these 9 words. I look forward to our one-on-one session addressing emotions. And to you, namaste. The divine in me celebrates the divine in you.